أهلا وسهلا بكم مرة ثانية، بس اعذرونا الخلل الفني اللي صار. نحاول نصلح اللايف. تعرفون ما عندنا إمكانيات قنوات وغيرها، بس إن شاء الله نقدر نوصل لكم كل شيء حلو. راح نبدي البث حاليا، بس ننتظر السفير التركي في بغداد في العراق توصل له invitation، خلينا نقول الطلب. ثواني راح نبدي. شلونكم انتو؟ شلون ليلكم وصباحكم اذا صباح يمكم؟ Fatih قدرش accept the invitation I just sent you to your Facebook. You should see a pop-up right now coming up. ثواني وراح نبدي، بس مساعد السفير يقبل ال invitation، هو دي ينتظرها. بس لحظات. Okay, let me know if it works this time. هذول بدنا نحاول اعتقد الشبكة ببغداد مو كلش قوية، فيحاول بس يقبل الانفيتيشن. هسه قال لي بالخاص انه يحاول يدوس البutton وما يطلع الدقمة. Fatih, is it not letting you select it, or what's happening? أعتقد. يا الله، حلو. Okay, I think we're in. Good evening, Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Steve.
Sorry that it took us a very few tries. Mr. Fatih was excellent in finding a solution. Give me a second. Let me just share the actual. They can. This is the account, so I'm just going to share it very quick with the page. تشوفونه هسه أعزائي؟ ده يطلع واضح؟ اوكي، هسه راح نبدي مباشرة وياكم. بس خليه يطلع لي. Okay, dear Ambassador, Mr. Ambassador, I'm sorry. Now we're ready to start. Can you hear me clearly?
Okay, great. Yes, sure, I do.
It's great to talk to you live. We've talked numerous times through messages, and I hold
oh yes,
a very
yes,
high
indeed,
respectful position for you. You're a great man and an honorable ambassador, and you have stood with Iraqis many times. So I do appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's start with the first main question.
Sure.
Who is Mr. Fatih Yıldız? Can you tell the audience about it?
Oh yes, sure, definitely. I've been doing this profession for the last 23 years. I'm married with one daughter.
Solid 22 years, you said, correct?
Yes, 23 years.
23 سنة هو في المجال السياسي الدبلوماسي وعنده فتاة واحدة بنت واحدة متزوج. Continue.
And I have served in different parts of the world so far, 2 times in the States, once in Chicago and in Washington as well. But this is my first time in the Middle East.
وبالشرق الأوسط أيضا.
And I've been here for the last 8 years. This is a distinction, a privilege for a Turkish diplomat to be here in Baghdad.
So you served 8 years in Baghdad?
8 months so far.
8 months. Okay.
Yes.
صار 8 أشهر ببغداد يخدم السفارة. Okay, so we're going to start with important questions. We have a lot of heavy questions that I was getting from the audience. راح نبدي بالأسئلة. راح أسأل بالعربي وبالإنجليزي ويجاوب أنا حترجم لكم إياها. The first question is, what is Turkey doing in Bashiqa? We are familiar with Bashiqa because of their great people and their great olives who translate into something else that makes us happy. We all know what Uzo does. But now we hear Bashiqa being associated with Turkish base. Can you explain to us that? سألت عن سبب وجود الأتراك في Bashiqa. احنا نعرف Bashiqa مشهورة بالزيتون وبناس الطيبين بس هسه نسمع Bashiqa مع القوات التركية. Can you explain to us what Turkey is doing there, please?
Sure. First and foremost, yes, Turkey is not there for the olives. Turkey has many olives, but I tasted the great Bashiqa olive when I was, strolling on Rashid Street.
هو ماكل الزيتون الباشيقي بشارع رشيد لاقى قال احنا ما جايين الباشيق على مود الألفز الزيتون. Why are you in Bashiqa?
But the reason that we are in Bashiqa is, of course, to stand with our friends in their fight against Daesh. And that was the main reason that the Turks started serving in Bashiqa.
قال السبب الرئيسي لوجود القوات التركية في باشيقة هو لمساندة أصدقائهم في قتالهم ضد داعش. Who are the quote-unquote friends? من هم الأصدقاء الذين تصفون؟
The friends are, of course, first and foremost, the government of Iraq. And we have, in fact, talked with our Iraqi friends before went in and started serving in Bashiqa. The main context of the mission, of course, to give training by Turkish soldiers to the Iraqis who would fight against Daesh. And they are still fighting. They are still out in the field, especially in Mosul now.
يصف الأصدقاء بالحكومة العراقية والقوات العراقية. Follow-up question to that. So we've heard many Iraqi politicians ask Turkish soldiers to get out and leave the country. So is there a certain part of the government that have agreed to this or requested it? سألت إنه العديد من السياسيين العراقيين سمعناهم بالإعلام يسألون يطلبون تركيا تطلع. لذلك من هي الجهة الحكومية التي طلبت من القوات التركية البقاء والمساعدة? Is there a certain faction?
That's the main message that we get to our Iraqi friends, saying that Turks didn't go in Bashiqa to stay there. Definitely, that's not our intention. But our intention is of course to talk with our Iraqi friends as to the nature of this mission, and that was the main issue when our foreign minister visited Baghdad last August, and that's our intention to chart a way for the presence of Turkish troops in Bashika with a clear dialogue, with a future-oriented dialogue with our Iraqi friends.
So the Iraqi government in Baghdad has cleared that the troops could stay in Bashika?
No, that was. I have to be frank here. Our friends in Baghdad, asked us to leave Bashika, but they have agreed to talk about what nature the presence of the Turkish troops in Bashika can turn into. So that is where we are now as to our talks with our Iraqi friends.
So still ongoing talks. سألته إنه هل هناك موافقة رسمية؟ قال هناك محادثات رسمية بين الخارجية التركية والحكومة التركية والحكومة العراقية على مستقبل القوات في بعشيقة. السؤال التالي راح يكون القوات راح تطلع راح تبقى بعشيقة وشنو هدفها الحالي؟ Are the forces in Bashika planning to stay? Are they planning to leave since Mosul is almost done or completely done, to be honest? We're rebuilding right now. Are they planning to stay or are they going to leave soon?
That's again a part of the talks that we have with our Iraqi friends. We never associated the presence of the Turkish troops with the presence of Daesh in Mosul. It was the mission was against Daesh, so Daesh presence is still there in Iraq, and our intention is to carry out this mission to help the Iraqis to fight Daesh. So, in fact, there was not any point in our talks with our Iraqi friends that the forces in Bashika will leave there after the liberation of Mosul.
So are they staying for a long term, years, maybe?
I mean, it is, of course, not the right time to talk about any timelines, any calendars, but our intention, of course, to give an end to the presence of Daesh in this country, and it's and you know them, you are among them. I see you among the Iraqi security forces, always with them. That our intention is to carry on this mission as long as the Daesh presence is there.
Okay. فالسفير يتكلم عن انه هم ما دام داعش موجود راح يحاولون يبقون واكو حوار بين الحكومه العراقيه والحكومه التركيه. The other question that I have for you, we always get reports as journalists of several ISIS sympathizers or members who fled Iraq and now are in Istanbul and other cities around the country, but we notice a little lax treatment from the Turkish security forces toward them. Are they going to ever face justice, or are they going to just stay there in Turkey as long as they're not doing anything active? سألت عن الصحفيين دائما يستلمون تقارير عن وجود دواعش اما اعضاء او متعاطفين مع داعش عراقيين موجودين بتركيا، هذول شنو نصيبهم؟ راح يتلقون العداله لو راح تعرفهم تركيا؟
I mean, we're referring to the foreign terrorist fighters here, and foreign terrorist fighters have always been one of the critical matters for Turkey.
So, what does Turkey stand on the current sympathizers / members who are still in Turkey and they escaped Iraq?
So what we are basically doing is, in fact, the inflow of foreign terrorist fighters to Syria and Iraq has been dramatically reduced by, in fact, the intervention by the Turkish security forces at the border gates, mainly in Istanbul and others as well. So when it comes to the figures, we're talking about thousands of those foreign terrorist fighters who have been stopped at Turkish border crossings so far. And of course, as you can imagine, for the inflow of foreign terrorist fighters in Syria and in Iraq, Turkey is not the only way that those foreign terrorist fighters can go into these countries. So we are cooperating with the others as well, including our Iraqi friends.
Okay. السفير تكلم عن تخفيض عدد المقاتلين الجوي للعراق الدواعش اللي يعبرون العراق وسوريا. But again, my question was, the ones that fled to Turkey, are they going to face prosecution? اللي هربوا لتركيا، الدواعش اللي هربوا لتركيا العراقيين واجهون عدالة لو لا؟
If you are referring to the Iraqi citizens here in this case, of course, yes. This is it's an important one, and we are in constant coordination and talk with our Iraqi friends, ranging from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to the intelligence as to the presence of these. As long as the case against these people are made here in Iraq, of course, the relevant Turkish authorities will do their utmost to bring these people to a position that they will not pose any threat, neither to Turkey nor to Iraq.
So if they سألت عن العراقيين موجودين تركيا اللي ويا داعش كانوا بدي يقول الحكومة العراقية إذا قدموا عليهم قضايا بالعراق وغيرها, so if there is governmental court situations or reports or any sort of accusations happening in Baghdad, are you going to help Baghdad government to track down these ISIS sympathizers and members in Turkey?
Oh yes, indeed. I mean, we are definitely open for any sort of cooperation, and this is well known by our Iraqi counterparts. And this is something that I hear from the Iraqis themselves when I go out into the streets, when I get together with them. They are referring to certain personalities that have been part of those criminal activities, and I assure them that these people are a threat not only to Iraq, to what we want to see in Iraq, but to the security and safety of people in Turkey as well. Because, as you know, we have suffered a lot from the Daesh attacks as well. Turkey can be said among the top 10 countries when it comes to suffering from the Daesh attacks. We had so far over 10 major Daesh terrorist activities in Turkey.
السفير تكلم عن خطورة هؤلاء العناصر على الشعب التركي أيضا كما هو خطر على الشعب العراقي، ودي يقول الناس بالشوارع من افترض بغداد يسألوني يقولوا لي شو وقت راح تقبضون على هؤلاء العناصر الموجودين بتركيا، ودي يطالب الحكومة العراقية تساعدهم وتقيم على الدعاوى القضائية وغيرها وتقدم أسماء المطلوبين ويكون نوع من التعاون بين وزارة الخارجية العراقية وتركيا. My question is, and this is the last one about ISIS, and we'll move into the Kurdistan referendum right after that. Some people in Iraq accuse Turkish government of letting ISIS smuggle oil through Turkey, Iraqi oil, and to be sold in black market around the world. Have you seen any cases where prosecution has been done toward people who sold oil, Iraqi stolen oil by ISIS? And who do you blame for letting that happen through the border area? سألت عن الاتهامات بعض الناس اتهام انه الحكومة التركية تساعد او بغض النظر عن بيع داعش للنفط عبر الحدود التركية للسوق السوداء. Go ahead, Mr. Ambassador.
When we speak about the border between Turkey and Iraq, we're talking about a 331-kilometer length of border. And this is one of the borders that we have and which is under constant let's say, security because of the presence of PKK, as you know, on the other side of the border. So this is a very well protected border that we are talking about, which is under always surveillance. Therefore, any sort of, let's say, Daesh elements that would, try to do such sort of an illegal activity there will definitely be detected. But yes, I have read a lot of reports here in Baghdad as well. But when we look at the last 4-5 months, I haven't heard any at all when I was here as to these reportings.
So you're saying it has been shut down or blocked?
Frankly speaking, when we go back to the history of this, Turkey, in fact, took these claims very seriously and worked on these with our Iraqi friends when it comes to any sort of concrete evidence that will attest to the presence of such activities. But in fact, we haven't detected any sort of activities at that border.
تكلمنا عن هذا الموضوع، يقول انه حاليا ماكو تبادل نفطي بين داعش وتجار المناطق او تجار السوق السوداء في تركيا. السؤال الاخر راح اساله راح يكون عن موضوع الاستفتاء. We'll talk about Kurdistan referendum. First, what is the official Turkish stand from the referendum that's going to take place this month? شنو هو الموقف الرسمي التركي من موضوع الاستفتاء الكردي راح يجري هذا الشهر؟
We look at this issue from the perspective of the unity and integrity of Iraq, first and foremost. So this is not a matter of, in quotation mark, or so-called Kurdish independence. This is a matter for us as to the integrity and unity of Iraq. And as long as this will be against us, against the unity and integrity of Iraq, we are against this referendum.
هو يقول الحكومة التركية تهتم بالموضوع لأنها تهتم بوحدة العراق وبقائها جغرافيا في حدوده. والموضوع له مو موضوع حقوق كردية ودولة كردية، إنما بقاء الدولة العراقية وحدة بطريقة موحدة خلينا نقول. So the referendum goes on and people vote yes. What happens the next morning؟ إذا الاستفتاء والناس صوتوا بنعم، شو راح يصير يوم ثاني كموقف تركي؟
We think a lot about this as well. It's all about, I guess, and this is how I personally feel about this. It's all about what the ones who organize this referendum want to do with the results of that. It doesn't automatically mean, that's how we see it, it doesn't automatically mean the next day we're talking about an independent Kurdistan here. But it's all about what the organizers of this referendum would like to do with that result. So it's up to them, in fact. Our reactions, our reply to them will depend on the next thing that they will do with that result.
يقول يعتمد على من ينظم الاستفتاء، شنو اللي يحاول يسوي على الاستفتاء. موقفنا راح يكون من الاستفتاء انه الاستفتاء ما راح خلينا نقول يقود مباشرة الى دولة، انما راح يكون حسب الخطوة الثانية من منظمين الاستفتاء. الموقف التركي راح يكون حسب الموقف القادم بعد الاستفتاء من الناس اللي نظموا الاستفتاء. So let's say referendum passes and Kurdistan is now being declared a country. What's your stand؟ إذا الاستفتاء نجح وتم إعلان دولة كردية، شنو موقفكم التالي؟ Sorry, I'm sick a little bit.
No, it's okay. First and foremost, it's a presumption that we think that the next thing that they will do will declare independence. So we don't think that will be the case, first and foremost.
You don't think they'll?
But of course, the first thing is that there will be a difference between 25th of September and after that. First, before 25th of September, it will be regarded a goal, maybe a dream for many, and especially in the Kurdish leadership. But after that, that will be something that is decided by the Kurdish people themselves. So what the organizers of this this referendum wants us to face is that, you know, they want us to face the Kurdish people rather than the leaders who organized this, and we don't want this to be the case, and we want the leaders in the KRG to think twice before they do this, and give a chance to the talks with Baghdad as to, you know, keeping themselves in this integral and unified country.
So السفير يقول إنه إحنا نظن إنه قيادات تركيا تحط الشعب الكردي هو في مواجهة الحكومة التركية سياسيا، إنه شعب يطالب بالاستقلال مو قيادات تركية. هو يقول إحنا نشجع قيادات تركيا على التفكير بالأمر والعودة إلى الحوار مع بغداد قبل القيام بخطوة الاستفتاء. So let's say the referendum passes and they declare Kurdistan in northern Iraq. What is your first stand? إذا صار الاستفتاء ونجح وأعلنوا دولة كردستان، شنو موقف تركيا؟
Of course, there is a regional aspect to this. There is a regional dimension to this. What we want our Kurdish friends to see is that we're talking about a referendum, an action that Turkey, Iran, Baghdad is against. So the countries all around our Kurdish friends are against this referendum. So and the idea behind this. So what we see is that this is not a very realistic step to take.
يقول إنه إحنا نريد القيادة التركية تعرف إن الموقف الإيراني والتركي وبغداد شنو هو وشنو الخطوة الواقعية اللي نريدها من القيادة التركية. So you prefer the Kurdish leadership to cancel or postpone the referendum?
That's the distinction.
أو تأجل الاستفتاء.
That's the distinction of Turkey, I should say. We always said from the very beginning that, you know, we are against the idea of referendum in principle. So we never talked about postponement of it. We said that it shouldn't be the case. The referendum shouldn't be there. So it would be a mistake. That's what we said at the first place.
هم يقولون إنه إحنا دائما قلنا الاستفتاء راح يكون خطوة سلبية وغلط مو صحيح. Okay, what do you feel about Kirkuk being included in the referendum? We understand that Turkey has a great interest in Kirkuk historically, culturally, and also economically. How do you feel about the referendum being taking place in Kirkuk, and even the calls to include Kirkuk in the KRG administration? شنو شعورك حول كركوك بإدخالها ضمن الاستفتاء وأيضا بإدخالها مستقبلا ضمن الإقليم الكردستاني؟
Yes, Turkey has a special place in the hearts of the Turkish people, and that's because of our Turkmen brethren that are living in Kirkuk.
كركوك عندها مكان خاص في قلب الأتراك بسبب إخوانهم التركمان.
But of course, Kirkuk is one of is what we say a microcosm of Iraq as well. That it is a combination of many different elements of Iraq, not only the Turkmens that we're referring to here, Kurds, Arabs, and the Christians as well.
اوكي، فهو اللي يتكلم عن كركوك كونه نموذج مصغر للعراق بوجود المسيحيين الأكراد والعرب والتركمان. So what's Turkey's stand on Kirkuk staying within Iraq or joining Kurdistan region?
I mean, the future status of Iraq of Kirkuk was in fact charted in the Iraqi constitution. We're talking about Article 140.
من ضمنه. Keep going.
Of course, there hasn't been the necessary conditions so far to materialize 140. But it doesn't mean that we can simply go ahead and create some fait accomplis. This doesn't necessarily mean that we can go. The fact that we were not able to, materialize Article 140 doesn't necessarily mean that we can create fait accomplis in Kirkuk.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask you about the Turkmen population.
What we call Emrivaki in
the Turkmen population in Kirkuk. Do you view them as friends or actually as an emotional and cultural part of Turkey? القومية التركمانية في كركوك هل هم أصدقاء؟ هل هم إخوان للشعب التركي؟
Turkmens in Kirkuk is an integral part of this country, integral part of Iraq. That's how we see them. They have a special place in our hearts. They have a special part in our hearts. And nothing can change this. But we want them, and they want this as well, to be a constructive element of this country. We see them as a very important link between Turkey and Iraq. And they have the clear intention to serve this way in terms of the relations between Iraq and Turkey.
Absolutely. So we're going to move to Sinjar. What is your... Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Last word maybe about Kirkuk. Since the KRG flag was hoisted in Kirkuk during last March, Turkey made it very clear that it was not a matter of a simple matter of raising a flag there.
نعتذر عن الخلل اللي صار وراح ثواني مرة أخرى في الجزء الأخير من الحوار. Mr. Ambassador, sorry, but I think the network... we're talking very steamy conversations, so I think the network has a limit on that.
Let's cool it off then.
Many people are asking me about Turkish superheroes like Murad and Diab or Wadi Diab, sorry.
Yeah.
Why don't they die with all the bullets that they get? ليش المسلسلات ما يموتون مراد وجماعته؟
They don't want to leave the Iraqi audience like without no one here, so they will be orphans without them, so they keep leaving. So
let's go back to our conversation. Sinjar,
yes.
We understand there's PKK and there's problems there. What is the Turkish stand on Sinjar? Are you planning to go into Sinjar to fight the actual YPG elements inside Iraq, or YBS as they call them? شنو الموقف التركي من سنجار؟ راح تدخل القوات التركية إلى سنجار وتقاتل ال YBS الموجودين هناك التابعين لل YPG، أو هناك موقف آخر؟ Go ahead, Mr. Ambassador.
Yes, Sinjar is in a very critical location, as you can imagine, not only for Turkey but for Iraq as well.
سنجار مهم جدا استراتيجيا لتركيا والعراق. Go ahead.
So first and foremost, we don't want Sinjar to turn into some other places like in North Iraq as a major hub for PKK activity. But there is a tendency, if we don't address the threat there is a tendency that Sinjar will turn into places like those, like in, for example, in Kandil or in Mahmur. So we don't want Sinjar first and foremost to turn into
ولماذا سنجار تتحول إلى مناطق أخرى بالعراق بها البككة مثل قنديل ومخمور؟ Go ahead.
But when it comes to addressing the problem there, our clear intention is to coordinate this with our Iraqi friends, because this is an infringement of the Iraqi territorial integrity as well. So PKK is a clear common threat for Turkey and Iraq. So we have to be able to address the PKK presence there together. But we have made it very clear to our Iraqi friends that if there won't be necessary action there, Turkey is ready to act on its own, because it's a major threat to Turkey's security.
سنجار بخصوص سنجار انه تركيا مستعده للعمل او يعني خلينا نقول الشيء اللي يريدون يسووه بخصوص سنجار مستعدين يسووه بنفسهم، اذا كان عسكريا او سياسيا، لان سنجار مهمه جدا لهم وما يريدون البككه والواي بي اس يكون لهم مكان بسنجار مثل ما عندهم قنديل ومخمور. Is there a timetable of when Turkey might act؟ اكو يعني مثلا خلينا نقول محور زمني شو وقت تركيا قد تدخل سنجار او غيرها؟
As to the timeline, I mean, there are clear commitments on the part of our Iraqi counterparts, saying that, you know, the presence of any elements inside Iraq's borders, inside Iraqi territory, that will pose any threat to any neighbor. So this is against Iraqi constitution. So our hope is that, you know, this will be addressed by our Iraqi counterparts.
يتأملون أن الحكومة العراقية هي اللي راح تخاطب موضوع سنجار وموضوع وجود البككة والواي بي اس هناك. Many of the audience are asking us about Yazidi women who were kidnapped by ISIS and then they were sold through Turkish mafias, and they were being used as sex slaves and workers and sex business and such in Turkey. Is there any actions, strong actions by Turkish government to tackle this issue? سألت سؤالكم اللي شفته عدة مرات عن البنات اليزيديات المخطوفات اللي باعوهم عبر المافيا التركية. هل هناك حملة من الحكومة التركية بخصوصهم؟ راح يسوون شيء لو لا؟
Any sort of claims or any sort of cases that is brought to us with the proofs and with any traces of activities that will lead us to Turkey is definitely followed up by Turkey in a very serious manner.
نقلها لنا بالأدلة وغيرها أكيد راح نعمل عليها. So can local Iraqis who have sisters and cousins and such who have been stolen and sold in Turkey, can they communicate with the embassy in Baghdad? Is there a way for them to do so? Is there an email?
Sure,
طريقة للتواصل مع السفارة التركية في بغداد من قبل أهالي المخطوفات اللي سمعوا أخبار عن وصول بناتهم إلى تركيا؟
Sure, definitely. We are open to any sort of inquiries with the embassy. You know how to reach me. The easiest way to reach me is through Twitter, as you know. I always reply all my messages that are coming from the Iraqis or from other parts of the world. We are on board in any case. These are very serious humanitarian issues, and if there are any concrete proofs as to this, we will definitely work on it. And we hear some stories of children that have been kidnapped, and we are, for example, working on this as they were drawn to our attention by the member of parliament, Wian Dakhli. So we are working on it as well.
يقول تم رفع الموضوع إلى نقول إلينا عبر بيان دخيل عضو البرلمان، وإذا عندكم أي خبر عن بنية مثلا محددة، اسم محدد، تاريخ، معلومات، أي شيء موثق، تقدرون عن طريقي تصلوا للسفير وهو راح يرسل الأجهزة المختصة بتركيا، وإن شاء الله نقدر نوصل هالبنات. Another question from Mr. Bassett, one of the audience. He's asking you, what is the actual, how the Turkish government views the future of Iraqi refugees in Turkey? شنو موقف الحكومة التركية مستقبلا من اللاجئين العراقيين في تركيا؟
Yeah, I mean, we see the Iraqi refugees in Turkey as guests, as temporary guests, of course. And as you know, in our culture, guests are so important, and you cannot simply show them the door unless there are, you know, those necessary conditions for these people to return. So our intention, of course, to work with our Iraqi counterparts to establish the necessary environment for the return of these people, first and foremost. They are always welcome, and we try to address every element in their lives, ranging from education to health services. But of course, we will not be able to replace their homeland. It has a very special meaning, and you cannot be their homeland simply by having them stay in Turkey.
سعادة السفير يتكلم عن موقف العراقيين الموجودين بتركيا اللاجئين لطلب اللجوء. يقول هم بالنسبة لنا ضيوف، واحنا نكرم ضيوف ونحاول نساعدهم بكل متطلبات الحياة، لكن هم خلينا نقول مواطنين عراقيين والعراق بلدهم، وصعب أن يبقون هناك للأبد، فلازم يكون هناك حل مستقبلا بهذا الأمر. My other question to you, we hear some sort of support from certain Turkish factions to the Iraqi PMF, Al-Hajj al-Shabi. However, we also hear different speech coming from Ankara sometimes toward the PMF. What is your stand on PMF? What is the Turkish stand on PMF? شنو هو الموقف الرسمي التركي من الحج الشعبي؟ نسمع احنا خطابات متضاربة من تركيا ومن بعض الشخصيات التركية حول الحج الشعبي.
Hajj al-Shabi is a part of the reality in this country, and they are an important element in the fight against Daesh.
وعضو مهم بالقتال ضد داعش.
And they made great sacrifices. They have sacrificed shaheeds, and we acknowledge this. And they are instrumental in terms of getting rid of Daesh, not only in Mosul and Tel Afar as well. But we have a distinction there, which is that we are concerned about those elements in Hajj al-Shabi, in PMF, that will that choose to act without the guidance or instruction of the central government in Baghdad. And that's a major concern for our Iraqi friends as well.
أو العناصر من الحج الشعبي اللي يختارون عدم العمل ضمن نطاق القوانين والملخصات من حكومة بغداد. Are you talking about ones that are accused of being answering to Iran? هل تتكلم عن العناصر اللي قيادتهم مباشرة من إيران مو بغداد؟ هذا كان سؤالي.
I mean, I cannot trace this to any personality or any country at all. But our major, let's say, principled approach to this is that these forces, like any other Iraqi security forces, need to act with the clear instruction and guidance of the government in Baghdad.
هو يقول احنا ما نقدر نتبع العلاقات بين العناصر وين الأوامر القيادية تجي، لكن يجب على الجميع خلينا نقول المشي على طريق الحكومة العراقية واللي يطلبوا منهم الحكومة العراقية وقوانينها. If in Tuz Khulmatu, which has a Turkmen element, if Tuz Khulmatu witnesses a fight between Kurdish forces and the PMF, what is your stand on the issue if that happens? What is Turkey going to do? إذا صار هناك لا سمح الله مواجهات في طوس خرمات بين الحشد والبشمركة، ماذا سيكون موقف الحكومة التركية من الموضوع؟
First and foremost, this will be a terrible, let's say, development in terms of the security and integrity of of Iraq, because both PMF and both the Iraqi security forces in general, including Hashishabi and Peshmerga, are two main elements in the fight against Daesh. So the fight against Daesh is not over yet. They are there, and simply leaving aside Daesh and starting to fight among each other, against each other, will not be to the interest of Iraq and Iraqis. So we will definitely, call for restraint and in common sense, of course.
يقول احنا ننظر الى الحشد الشعبي والبشمركة كقوات حرب داعش وجزء مهم من العراق، لذلك اي نوع من التصادم بينهم ما راح يكون شيء ايجابي للعراق، وراح ندعو للسلام خلينا نقول التعاون بينهم، لان داعش بعده موجود حتى لو خسر عدة معارك لكنه بعده موجود. How do you view the Christian, Yazidi, Turkmen, Shabak, Kurdish and Arab situation in Nineveh Plain, in Tel Afar and Sinjar? What do you think is the best for them as far as political solution moving on? شنو موقفك من الأقليات والمكونات الموجودة في سهل نينوى، شبك تركمان مسيحيين عرب أكراد؟ ما هي نظرتك لمستقبلهم؟ شنو الحل الأمثل لهم؟
I mean, we definitely value the multicultural element in Iraq. And we value that, we cherish this. And that's why the return to normalcy in terms of the lives of, starting with the Christians, the return to normalcy in terms of the lives of the minorities in this country is essential for the return to normalcy in Iraq in general. Therefore, we support first and foremost the return of the minorities to their places, and of course have their own rights as people in the other parts of the Iraq enjoy, like in terms of electing their own, let's say, local administrators, and addressing their grievances as to having a normal, decent life in Iraq. So we are in full support of their request for normalcy.
احنا ندعم المكونات وطلبهم بالعودة إلى الحياة العامة الطبيعية بعيدا عن ضغوط وغيرها. If you see Nineveh Plain being attached to the KRG, are you going to move as Turkey, or are you going to just watch it silently? إذا شفتوا سهل نينوى ينضم إلى إقليم كردستان، هل راح تتحركون أو هذا الشيء طبيعي لكم؟
Of course, Nineveh Plain is a part of those, disputed territories, and disputed territories like Kirkuk, as we refer to Article 140. So the future status of these places have been charted. So we don't imagine any actor in Iraq to act against this and create some fait accompli or emriwakis in Iraq. So that will be an emriwaki for all, and not only Turkey, but central government in Baghdad or others will definitely reject such a development.
يقول احنا والحكومة العراقية بغداد واي شخص او جهة ثانية راح ترفض هذا الشيء اذا صار انه لازم يكون هناك دستور وحد دستوري ومادة 140 بالمناطق المتخاصم عليها. I always witness you with your family and your wife hanging out in Baghdad and visiting Iraqis. It's a very good sight because many of Iraqi politicians do not show their wives in public. Why do you do that? Especially we are in an eastern country. دائما قلت له دائما زوجتك تطلع تفترض ببغداد، السياسيين العراقيين ما يشوفون زوجاتهم وياهم خلينا نقول السفرات والاجتماعات وغيرها، لكن انت زوجتك وياك دائما. ليش واحنا ببلد شرقي؟ هذا سؤالي كان.
As I refer to normalcy when we speak about Nineveh Plains, this is the same for Baghdad as well. So this is a clear indication that people can have a normal life, like in the other parts of the world, that strolling in the streets with their own families with their wives and children. This should be the normal. And this is a clear message as the representative of Turkey that I sent not only to the Iraqis, but to other colleagues here and to the world that, we have to put ourselves and we have to lead and set a good example for the others that life in Baghdad can be normal.
هذه رسالة مباشرة مني وغيري إنه الحياة في بغداد مستعدة تكون طبيعية، ويعني هو يريد يوصل رسالة إنه وجود زوجته معه بالخارج بالأسواق والشوارع وغيرها، إنه هذا رسالة مباشرة له إنه الحياة ببغداد طبيعية. We thank you for that.
And if my wife is watching, so I have to flatter her as well, of course. It is
لازم يعني يغزلها.
Yes, it is lazim. Yes, exactly. So, I mean, it is the good side of having a brave and supportive wife and spouse that always stands next to you. And of course, I shouldn't forget my daughter as well. And they're both very supportive of me.
ودائما يدعموني. How important is your wife's support to your success in your life? ايش قد أهمية دعم زوجتك لك بنجاحك في حياتك؟
That's generally what people say, that it's my better half, and that's how I may refer to it.
I agree with you. I send regards to my wife. She's watching now. She gives me all the support I need.
We send all those flattering words to our wife, so we're now secure here.
We're good. We touched on the most important part.
Yes, indeed. But I say it by heart,
Yeah. Many of the people are asking about the Iraqis who are giving, obviously if you apply to the UN, you're not allowed to go back to that country. Many of them went back to Iraq and they did not wait for the application of the UN, but now they can't go back to visit Turkey. What is the issue and what's the solution? And الناس اللي عندها منع.
Yes. That's in fact one of the main, let's say, complaints that we're receiving from our Iraqi friends. And I assure them that we work on each case by case. If they come up with their own cases, we always check with Ankara as to the developments regarding their situation. Because we value Iraqis going to Turkey and being there, visiting touristically or doing business in Turkey. Iraqis are valued people back in Turkey in different positions, ranging from, let's say, tourists to businessmen. So we will do our utmost to sort out these very specific problems as well.
راح يحاولون كل جهدهم انه يخلصون هالمشاكل اللي تسببت بعدم سماح العراقيين اللي كان عليهم منع دخول تركيا. Why is there a visa on Iraqis that they cannot go electronically and apply? I mean, Iraqis go to Turkey, spend money, contribute to Turkey, but now they're being, I mean, it's very hard for them to get visas. It's not as simple as other countries. How come? أسأل ليش العراقيين اللي يصرفون فلوس بتركيا ويقدمون شيء بتركيا ماديا متى تخلوهم ياخذون فيزا إلكترونية مثل قبل؟
Yeah, we started implementing visa by the beginning of 2016, and this definitely affected the number of Iraqis traveling to Turkey drastically. We were talking about 1.1 million people that were visiting, Iraqis that were visiting Turkey, down to 650,000. But we drew our own conclusions from this, how to address it. And I guess we have sorted this out to a great extent. There are still different ways of applying for Turkish visa. And we see the promising development as to the increase of the Iraqis that are traveling to Turkey. For example, I have the numbers for this year's first 7 months. As compared to last year, there is an increase of 258%. So we have
صعود هالسنة من الناس العراقيين راحوا تركيا من السنة اللي فاتت.
So during the first 7 months, the number of Iraqis who visited Turkey are 455,000.
In the first 7 months?
And this doesn't, yes, this doesn't include the August, which is one of the months for the tourists as well.
So is it being simplified
so we are
for Iraqis?
Oh yes, indeed, and we have now we have now a visa application center that is in service that started serving last May, and this facilitated the application process as well.
I have questions regarding Lausanne from our friend Aryan. He says Lausanne agreement is going to end in 2023. What's going to happen after that? Is it going to have implications on Turkey? سأل سؤال الأخ أريان صديقي العزيز عن موقف تركيا بعد انتهاء اتفاقية لوزان في 2023.
I mean, Lausanne is the main international and instrument, let's say, international law instrument that ensures the existence of Turkey, the borders of Turkey. So we value definitely the articles and the provisions of Lausanne, which is, as I've told, is a guarantee for Turkey's borders as well. So we don't have any sort of plans as to seeking for other avenues after 2023. We have a vision for 2023, which is the centennial of Turkey. We want to be among the first 10 strongest economic powers in Turkey. Turkey has a vision, but what our friend referred to is not a part of the Turkish vision for 2023.
عندنا رؤية بخصوص 2023 واللي هي المئوية لتركيا، لكن لوزان مو جزء من هذا الشيء. Another thing, we know there's a rift between PUK and Turkey. أكو خصام بين الاتحاد الوطني الكردستاني وتركيا, which has led to many Kurdish citizens from Suleymania being not allowed into Turkey and declined visas. Is that going to be fixed soon? راح يعني الطلاب والمواطنين الأكراد من سليمانية المنع اللي يصير عليهم راح يعني نلقى حل قريبا يدخلون تركيا لو لا؟
First, I mean, we don't differentiate between Iraqi citizens when it comes to where they come from or where they make their visa applications or where they are coming from and staying in Turkey. So there is no such a policy in Turkey as to the Suleymanis or any other part of the Iraq. But yes, I mean, there are two important factions in KRG, and these are all two important factions. And it's essential for Turkey to be in a position that has a healthy communication with both sides, both with PUK and KDP. And Goran, on the other hand, is another important element in KRG as well. So Turkey definitely bears in mind those sort of balances in terms of its approach to KRG.
Thank you. They يقول إنه أكو أجزاء مهمة من حكومة الإقليم واللي هي الأحزاب المنضمة ويهتمون إنه الكل يأخذ فرصة معتدلة بالفيزا مو إلا المكان يجون منه. There are many Armenians and Assyrians and Chaldeans and Syriacs in Iraq. I'm one of them.
Yes.
We obviously have a dispute of the genocide claim that we claim. There was a genocide done to us, and you claim that that's not true. We're not going to dive into that because you're an ambassador. I'm a journalist. That's not our topic, and we're not going to reach a point. We can talk for days about it. But here's my question.
Definitely. Yes, sure.
As an ambassador in Iraq, how come you have not reached more into the Christian population of Iraq to sort of build a relationship that could some way smooth some things out that were left from the problem in the past? سؤالي إنه أكو هواية ألمان وأشوريين وسوريان وكلدان بالعراق وأنا أحدهم, وقلت له ما راح نتناقش بموضوع المذبحة اللي أنتم تقولون لا وإحنا نقول إيه, لكن لماذا أنت كسفير في بغداد ما حاولت تتواصل مع خلينا نقول الأرمن والمسيحيين قومياتهم بالعراق بصورة مقربة أكثر، لعل وعسى أنه يكون نوع من التقارب، يعني نوع من التقارب اللي قد يساعد في الماضي قدما من جروح الماضي. Go ahead.
Yes, I mean, it is a tradition in Turkey that we value this multicultural atmosphere in Iraq. This was the case in the history, and this is the case now as well. We're not the ones that are trying to relive history or reenact certain things in the history, but we never deny the fact that these elements, the minorities in Iraq, the Christians especially, are an essential ingredient of this country that makes this country unique and different from many others in terms of its diversity.
So how come you have not reached into them? I always see you reaching to the Turkmens, to the Shia, but I've never seen you reach to the Christians in Iraq.
I did made a number of posts. In fact, I have been to the Chaldean Cathedral and the church as well. I was even given a medal by the Chaldean Church as to a medal of friendship recently that were bestowed on us by the community there. And of course, I was there at the Chaldean Church during Easter. We do our best in terms of recognizing those special days.
But churches do not.
Now my friends brought me.
I see you have Easter.
Now my friends brought me this. So yeah, these are the Easter eggs that we were given. In fact, we don't keep this just to be on the safe side to present it, but I always keep it here in my room as well.
Have you tried to
churches
go
are not
visit,
the only places.
Have you tried to visit Al-Qush, Karakosh, Baghdada? Have you tried to visit Christian towns? Maybe talk to them, offer them some sort of support.
You are right in that respect. We haven't been yet to that part of the country, to the north yet. And we would like to, definitely. I mean, we have to be in a position to reach out to those communities in Nineveh and in Nineveh Plains. Nineveh Plains is very important for us when it comes to the agriculture and irrigation aspect as well. That we know that the Christian communities there rely a lot on agriculture there, and in fact there is a Turkish company that started working on an irrigation project, East Jazeera project, which we value in Turkey as well, to bring water to those very productive fields. And we are working with that Turkish company as well to continue with that project.
Many Iraqis are accusing Turkey of fighting them to water. All the dams are being built, the lessened water coming in. Is that going to go toward a positive ending as relations between Baghdad and Ankara are smoothing out, or is it going to be stalled? ده اتكلم عن العراقيين يتهمون تركيا باستخدام المياه والسدود وغيرها ضدهم. هل هناك نوع من الانفتاح المائي بعد العلاقات السياسية المتحسنة لو لا؟
In fact, there has been an important improvement as to the talks and cooperation in the water issues, especially for the last 6 months. It's not a credit to myself, but it is the case.
الماضية إنه صار تقدم بالعلاقات المائية بين تركيا والعراق.
The Minister of Water Resources, Mr. Janabi, went to Turkey last March, and we came a long way in terms of the cooperation elements there. We want to see the water issues, not the issue of contention between Turkey and Iraq. We want to see this area as an element, an area of cooperation between Iraq and Turkey. So we're not shy in terms of, listening to our Iraqi friends and addressing their concerns. And that's what we are trying to do with this cooperative mechanisms.
قال احنا بدنا نحاول نسمع كلام من العراقيين والحكومة العراقية حول المواد المائية وشلون نقدر نتعاون أكثر، وإحنا نريد نتعاون.
And if I may, I mean, contrary to many people that think otherwise, Turkey is not definitely a water-rich country, but the management of water resources is the key. And we have come a long way in Turkey in terms of managing that water. And we want to help assist our Iraqi friends in terms of management of the resources.
نحن نحاول نساعد أصدقائنا العراقيين بإدارة المواد المائية، لأن المواد المائية شيء مهم تركيا وإدارتها شيء مهم أيضا. One of our friends, Mr. Ali, asked a question about the Turkish stand in regards to a large number of Turkish citizen women that were found in Talafar, married to ISIS. How did that happen, and what did Turkey do about it? عن البنات التركيات المزوجات من دواعش في تلعفر عددهم الكبير كان موجود.
Yes, I mean, our friend is right. We hear these from different sources as well, starting with the families back in Turkey as well. We are now communicating on this issue with both the Iraqi authorities and international organizations, starting with ICRC and UNHCR as well. We are trying to, find out the exact numbers as to the women and children there.
يقول نحاول نلقي الأرقام الصحيحة عن النساء والأطفال الموجودات مع داعش بتلعفر وغيرها وشنو مصيرهم. Now, here's the important question. September 25th, referendum happens. Are you going to just stand and watch, or are you going to interfere politically as much as you could? قلت له سؤالي كان يوم 25/9 الاستفتاء ده يصير، راح توقف انت كتركيا وتتابع ام راح تتدخل سياسيا وتضغط على الموضوع؟
Yes, that's the main area that Turkey finds itself. And the area that is most suitable for Turkey to act on is the political area. That's why we are in constant contact with Baghdad and Erbil as well, just to contribute to the efforts of other friends, other internationals who are trying to make certain that the message is clear with the authorities in Erbil, that if they go ahead with the 25th of September decision, the environment will not be the same as it was before it. So they have to be able to get this message very clear.
نقول رسالتنا واضحة للقيادة الكردية في أربيل إنه إذا مضوا بالاستفتاء قلنا لهم إنه خلينا نقول المناخ السياسي بعد الاستفتاء راح يكون مختلف ويجب أن يكون هذا الشيء واضح لهم. I think that answers that question. My final and most important question to you, and thank you for your time. سؤالي الأخير لو شكرت على وقته. What is your favorite Iraqi meal? شنو الوجبة العراقية المفضلة عند سعادة السفير؟
The favorite Iraqi meal?
Yes. What did you like the most?
I mean, so far the fish, of course, mezguf is a fish. Yes, is a fish that you cannot compare with any fish around Turkey or around the world. I have tasted many fishes, but this is, I guess, because of the very unique way that it is grilled. I always enjoy tasting the great mezguf that comes from Tigris, and that is water that we share. I guess we have a little share in that, but that fish tastes great.
نقول هاي الطعم السمك الجاي من دجلة كلش طيب، قد يكون سبب الاشتراك التركي العراقي بالموضوع. Thank you again for your time, Mr. Ambassador. It was an honor to have you on our page. Thanks for keeping in touch with the Iraqis, especially the young faction. It's an important faction, and hopefully we can have you here again, and maybe in person. I'll come to Baghdad and we'll sit down live and talk again.
Thank you. It was my privilege to be hosted by yourself. That it was our first time that we talk, but we have chatted a lot on social media. It was a great distinction, as I've told you, to be your guest, and I'll be looking forward to further contacts. And I'm sending my regards and best wishes to all our Iraqi friends, and wish for the best for both Turkey and Iraq and the relations between two countries.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you.
It was great to have your excellency. Have a wonderful night. Take care of yourself. وشكرا لمتابعتكم. نشوفكم في حلقة قادمة مع سياسي آخر أو دبلوماسي. تحياتي لكم. تصبحون على خير.